You are terrified of the empty room. You fill your life with noise, with people, and with constant digital distraction because you are afraid of who you might meet in the silence. We are taught from birth that to be alone is to be a failure, that popularity is the currency of success, and that solitude is a punishment. But ask yourself this: if you are not comfortable in your own company, why should anyone else be? If you feel empty when you are alone, it is not because you lack a companion. It is because you lack yourself. The French philosopher Blaise Pascal once wrote, "All of humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone. We run from ourselves, and in doing so, we run from the only source of true peace." But the ancient Zen masters knew a secret that the modern world has forgotten. There is a universe of difference between being lonely and being alone. Loneliness is the poverty of self. Solitude is the richness of self. Loneliness cries out, "I have no one," while solitude whispers, "I am enough." Today we will stop running. We will turn around and face the silence. We will explore 10 meditative lessons on the beauty of being alone, discovering how to transform your isolation into a sanctuary of power. To the unawakened mind, solitude feels like a prison. We view it as a lack, a gap that needs to be filled with the presence of others. But in Zen, solitude is not an empty cup. It is a clear stream. When you are constantly surrounded by others, your mind becomes a mixture of their thoughts, their emotions, and their energies. You become a compilation of everyone else's expectations. You forget where they end and where you begin. Solitude is the filter. It is the alchemy that separates the gold of your true self from the dross of societal conditioning. When you step away from the crowd, the mud settles. The voices of your parents, your boss, and your friends fade away, and for the first time you hear your own voice. Being alone is the only way to meet the stranger who has been living in your body your entire life. We are all actors on a stage, performing for an audience that is also performing. We wear masks of competence, happiness, and conformity to fit into the tribe. This performance is exhausting. It drains your vital energy because you are constantly monitoring your behavior to ensure it is acceptable. When you are alone, the audience disappears. You can take off the costume. You do not need to smile if you are not happy, and you do not need to speak if you have nothing to say. This is the freedom of solitude, the freedom to be ugly, to be messy, to be raw, and to be real. In the sanctuary of your own presence, you recover the energy you lost trying to please the world. You return to your factory settings. You realize that the person you are when no one is watching is the person you actually are. Most people are beggars. We walk through life holding out an empty bowl, begging others for scraps of attention, approval, and love. Please tell me I am beautiful. Please tell me I am successful. Please tell me I exist. When we are alone, we panic because the supply of external validation is cut off. Zen teaches us to smash the bowl. You must realize that the source of love is not outside of you. It is within you. Solitude forces you to become your own source of supply. You learn to compliment yourself, to soothe yourself, and to validate your own existence. When you no longer need others to tell you that you are worthy, you become dangerous. You become powerful because you cannot be manipulated. You stop transacting with people and start connecting with them. You are no longer there to take. You are there to share your overflow. Look at the history of human genius. The greatest art, the deepest philosophy, and the most revolutionary inventions were not created in a marketplace. They were birthed in the womb of solitude. Creativity requires a void. It requires a silence in which the whispers of inspiration can be heard. When you are constantly stimulated by the noise of the world, your mind is in reactive mode. You are consuming, not creating. Being alone switches your mind to active mode. The boredom that you fear is actually the soil from which your creativity grows. Do not fear the blank page or the empty hour. That emptiness is the canvas upon which your soul wishes to paint. Solitude gives you the space to hear the song that the universe is trying to sing through you. Imagine you are a vine. If you do not have a strong trunk of your own, you must wrap yourself around a tree to stand upright. If the tree is cut down, or if it walks away, you collapse into the dirt. This is how many of us live our relationships in a state of desperate dependency. We use people as crutches to support our emotional instability. We cannot stand being alone because we have no trunk. The practice of solitude is the practice of growing your own wood. It is becoming the oak, not the vine. When you learn to be happy alone, you are no longer desperate for company. You choose people. You do not need them. This changes everything. Your relationships become choices of freedom, not contracts of bondage. You can love freely because you are not afraid of losing. Why is silence so uncomfortable? Because silence is a mirror that does not lie. When you are busy, you can ignore your dissatisfaction, your guilt, and your pain. You can drown them out with noise. But when the noise stops, the truth rises to the surface. Solitude forces you to look at the parts of your life that act as a friction to your soul. This is painful, but it is necessary. You cannot heal what you refuse to acknowledge. Zen teaches us to sit with the discomfort. Do not reach for the phone. Do not turn on the TV. Watch the monster until it shrinks. In the fire of solitude, your delusions are burned away, leaving only the indestructible truth of who you are. The paradox of solitude is that when you detach from human society, you often reconnect with something far larger. Humans are just one part of the web of life. When you are alone in nature, you realize you are never truly alone. The wind speaks to you, the trees keep you company, the rhythm of the ocean synchronizes with your breath. You begin to feel a sense of belonging that no social group can provide. You belong to the earth. You belong to the cosmos. This is the great solitude that Rilke spoke of. It is not an isolation from the world, but an intimacy with the universe. When you find your place in the natural order, the rejection or acceptance of other people becomes irrelevant. Your soul runs on a battery. Every interaction, every decision, and every compromise drains a small percentage of your power. Extroverts may gain energy from others, but even they eventually hit a wall. For the thoughtful soul, the world is a constant drain. Solitude is the charging station. It is the only place where you can plug back into the source. When you are alone, you stop outputting energy and start inputting it. You absorb the silence, and it converts into strength. If you do not schedule time to be alone, you will burn out. You will become irritable, resentful, and hollow. Protect your solitude as you would protect your life, for it is the fuel that allows you to live. When you spend time alone, you will notice that your mind is like a busy hotel lobby. Thoughts come and go, checking in and checking out. In the beginning, this is chaotic. You will overthink. You will remember embarrassing moments from 10 years ago. But if you stay in the solitude long enough, the guests settle down. You realize that you are not the thoughts. You are the hotel manager. You learn the art of observation. You can watch a sad thought enter, acknowledge it, and let it leave without inviting it to sleep in your bed. This is the beginning of wisdom. You are no longer a slave to the noise in your head because you have found the silence behind the noise. The ultimate reward of solitude is freedom, total, absolute freedom. When you are alone, you do not need to compromise. You can eat what you want, go where you want, and sleep when you want. This sounds simple, but it is profound. It reminds you that you are the sovereign ruler of your own life. You reclaim your autonomy. You stop waiting for permission to live. You stop waiting for a partner to travel or a friend to try a new hobby. You realize that you are whole on your own. You are a complete universe, not a fragment waiting to be completed. And once you taste this freedom, you will never settle for a relationship that feels like a cage again. Do not mistake this message. We are not asking you to become a hermit or to renounce all human connection. The goal of solitude is not to escape the world. It is to find yourself so that you can bring a better version of yourself back to the world. When you know who you are in the dark, you will not be lost in the light. So tonight, do not turn on the TV, do not call a friend, sit in the empty room, face the silence. It will be scary at first, but if you wait long enough, you will hear the most beautiful voice you have ever known, your own.